Hey, good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the Six Rings Kane Show on a new night, Monday night now, baby. We're really excited, actually, to have Eric McLean on the show here, college football analyst, co-host of the Huddle. Coach, yes! All right!
First touchdown of the year.
Miami Hurricanes, yeah. You know the name already. It's Mercy. Ha ha. It's a six-ring Kane show. Can't forget the name though. Got Jazz, Blue, Vision, DJ, break the game code. Ain't no changing them, ain't no breaking them. Real Portland live from the Hard Rock Stadium. Ball 14 for the orange and green. We see the six-ring champs. It's more than a dream. This is life on the field. Beyond 100 yards, a hurricane that's never still put a damage to your squad.
What's wrong with us? Seriously.
What's wrong with us? We're Miami Hurricanes fans.
Welcome to the Six Rings Kane Show, a show dedicated to Miami Hurricane sports, featuring the legendary Larry Bluestein, Jazz Santana, Vish, and Danny Gillette. Let's go Canes.
Did we lose DJ already?
Yeah, he dropped out.
He's like, I'm out of here.
I was thinking as that intro ran, like that's just like a horror reel because it's Ponce.
Yeah.
It's me at A&M. It's you and Blue at the Middle Tennessee game in the press box.
Oh my God!
It is just.
It's Eric McLean.
McLean
telling us that we're not that bad. We're
no. Miami's great. We'll see you in Charlotte. I think it's how we ended that. Oh boy.
We might have to do a little editing and clean that up and change it a little bit. So
the
be on the lookout. Yeah,
the theme song is fire.
The theme song is great. Just be on the lookout for a new intro.
You're cashing checks for me, man. I'm the one who has to put that shit together. Come on.
I know, man.
All right, DJ is back, and I mean, I'm assuming you knew this was gonna happen, but Max is backstage. Shall I let him in? You want to
let's do PrizePicks and then we'll bring it
up. All right, Max. You gotta wait for PrizePicks. Jazz wants to get paid first.
Yeah, whatever. Shout out to Max holding it down, man. We appreciate you coming on. PrizePicks, real quick, man. Give a shout out. Speaking of shout outs, PrizePicks.com. Check them out. Go to PrizePicks.com. Log in. When you sign up, use the code 5 FIVE, and they will match your initial deposit up to $100. Make sure you check them out. It's real easy. Here's how it works: pick 2 to 5 players, and then choose the over/under on their individual categories. For instance, if you're gonna go with Joe Burrow this weekend, right? He's gonna have some passing yards up there. Want to make sure that you choose the over/under on his passing yards. So if the passing yards are like 275 yards, what are you doing, Vish? Are you going over or under on 275 yards against the Chiefs for Joe Burrow?
Over.
I think I would too.
It's gonna be a high-scoring game.
DJ, if Pat Mahomes over under is like 289 yards, are you going over or under on that?
I'm gonna go under because I like the Cincinnati Bengals defense in this game. It's gonna be a defensive battle, so
I like it.
It's gonna be fun.
So that's it. See, it's that easy. You can mix and match players and leagues, right? So it could be the NFL, it could be Major League Baseball, which is getting ready to start up soon. Formula One, they're actually adding to PrizePicks as well, which is getting ready to start up soon. Be on the lookout. By the way, we're on Wednesday today because Monday. We'll talk about Monday in a second, but yeah. So check them out. Go to PrizePicks.com. Type in the word 5 FIVE when you log in, and they will match your initial deposit up to $100. PrizePicks.com. Check them out. Let's bring on our special guest that we've had locked in for about 3 weeks now. We finally get him on the show. It's Mr. Max Kesselhoff from Miami Flow Media. What's going on, buddy?
Nothing, man. Just got done playing some Madden.
Oh, that's right. You got that Madden tourney going, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. So the reason we're on Wednesday today. On Wednesday night tonight is because first of all, Monday was just chaotic for both DJ and I, but your boy came out of it with a little truck action. So
it's not a Kia.
No, it's not a Kia, Max. And
I guess Flo didn't get you your car. I noticed that.
Man, I should have though, right? I should have kind of tagged him on my post on social media. So, is that Flo? Is that really Flo? Is that really the man? I doubt it.
It does not spell correctly, right? Is it?
No, that looks like it is actually him.
That's him. All right, what's up?
I thought it goes with one word, like Miami Flow. or just Flo?
I should have tagged Flo on that post on social media, man. Damn, I should. Well, I'm gonna do it on Twitter. How about that? I haven't posted anything on Twitter yet. I'm gonna post it on Twitter and say shout out to Flo and see how many people think he has a hookup for Chevys now too. So that would be awesome. So I got a new ride, and Monday was kind of crazy, man. So we're back at it here, and we'll be back on Monday nights moving forward.
Yeah, because like you said, we got to start the Formula One show.
Yep,
there's been so much crap. We've been like, we need to do a show.
Yeah, we need to do something soon.
Just everyone changed teams. Half the team bosses, half the drivers since our last show. So we should probably.
Not only that, I want you guys to know that I'm gonna let Max and Vish and DJ do a lot of talking today because it just started up on a new diet, and I'm struggling today already, bro. I'm struggling. Like it's tough. It ain't easy, but I gotta get a hot boy summer ready, as they say. I don't know who says that, but whatever.
All the young kids, apparently.
All the young kids.
We don't know what the young kids say. We'll just go with it.
Max, you're a young kid. What do the young kids say, bro?
I'm not a young kid. What are you talking about?
Come on, man. You haven't crossed the threshold yet, right? 35 years old. Yeah,
I'm probably the youngest one here. I'm guessing.
Not quite.
Yeah, you see. How old are you, DJ?
28.
28. Max, where are you at? You're about 28, 29, right?
I'm 28.
Oh,
look at this.
You see, you are a young buck, bro.
I feel old. Does that count? I feel old. So.
Yeah, well.
My bones hurt. Anyways.
So.
The hell is this, old man radio? Let's get going,
man. What's going on here today, bro?
We got a corner in the portal and stuff. Let's go.
Hey, Josh Gaddis is still the offensive coordinator for the Miami Hurricanes, everybody. Whatever that means. Whatever that means is what it means. But I really want to talk about the transfer portal stuff. Obviously, Battle was this weekend as well, so you had a lot of some of the top 7-on-7 teams down here, including Raw. Which shout out to Steve-O, his brother, and he had some gangsters on that team, had some dogs. So it was a really exciting weekend. I wasn't there, but I heard some really great news about it. And what was Ben say? Will the Kings have a new offensive coordinator before Jazz successfully commits to that? Hey, I already did, bro. So the Kings lost out on that one.
How long does that? If it started today, how long do you have to be into it before it's successful?
Nah, man, this is for life, bro. For life. That's it.
That's it. No more.
I'm getting too old, man. I'm getting too old to be doing this back and forth crap with diets. Like I gotta stick to something. My fiance's a damn dietitian, so
that's true. I'm always afraid eating around Sheeta because I'm like.
If I come out here looking like a fat ass all the time, and
it's no neck up, they can't tell.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
This is why I haven't even bothered starting.
You know what? I should amend that. They couldn't tell until you went through a drive-through in Taco Bell during the show. Then they probably could make some assumptions.
Good times there. Good times. RIP to Taco Bell drive-throughs during the game, during the show.
They never came through with the sponsorship.
Nah, man, they never did.
Wait, you guys did that too? I think Flo did it this weekend too.
It's like Martinelli's, bro. It's like Martinelli's, man.
Yeah, where they at?
Oh man. Anyways, Terry Roberts. That's what I really wanted to talk about first. Kind of start off with that transfer portal news. A nice addition to that defensive back room. A position that we definitely needed some depth. We needed some bodies there, but I think he's a guy that can come in and contribute. Max, obviously he's a transfer from Iowa, played a lot of special teams, a very good special teams player, got a chance to start a couple games and played well. So what's your take, Max? I want to start off with you on Terry Roberts. I know a lot of people are talking about his size. Not sure exactly how big he is. I think he was 5'10", 5'11", I think. Talk to me a little bit about Terry Roberts and what I guess Miami can expect from a guy like that.
Yeah, I mean, stealing from my guy Black and Flo, it's really rare in college to find a corner that can play exceptionally well in man coverage and in zone, and that's something that Terry Roberts can do. He's very scheme versatile. You can ask him to do anything. He's a willing tackler, which is big at corner. He doesn't shy away from contact. He lays the wood for his size. So that's going to be welcome to the squad as far as tackling goes. And he's just a really headsy guy. I mean, he played for an Iowa defense for 4 years, a team known for their defense and known for their good coaching on defense. So at the least, you're getting an elite special teams player, one of the best gunners in the country, a willing tackler, and a guy that can play in man in zone. So I think it's a massive pickup that maybe might not get as much publicity as it should. For those who don't know, we beat out Penn State and Alabama for him. So he had 2 teams in the top 10 that wanted him, and we were able to steal him away from both of those schools. So big time pickup.
Yeah, those 2 teams are pretty good, right?
Yeah, just a little
Alabama,
bit.
Penn State. They're all right. DJ, I want to get your take, right? Big Ten football guy. You know, you covered Big Ten football a lot with Nebraska and all that. Which, by the way, Nebraska is just unbelievable, tearing it up right now on the recruiting trail, right? And in the transfer portal. But nobody cares about Nebraska. But still, you know, we had to mention it. It is what it is. Matt Rule doing this thing over there. But you know, I don't know if you got to see Terry Roberts play a little bit, but what's your take on, you know, him coming from the Big Ten, coming from a team like Iowa to come down here and potentially, you know, like Back said, you know, kind of play that cornerback position. But also, I think what's underrated is the special teams aspect of it all as well.
Yeah, and you know, the Iowa defense last year as a whole was a very tough physical defense from their defensive line all the way to their secondary. And I think Terry Roberts will be able to bring that physicality to the Miami backfield. And you know, having him also as a special teams player is invaluable. I mean, you'll see it a lot. You know, sometimes the faster corners and things like that will be, you know, asked to do punt returns or even sometimes kickoff returns. So I think his toughness and his ability to kind of come down and make plays, combined with his background from playing on a tough Iowa defensive unit already, will be good for Miami. And you notice I said the word tough a lot. We could have used that at times last year. So I think he'll be a welcome addition.
I like him. Vish, what do you think? I mean, look, it's an addition to the cornerback room, to defensive backs. Jamil Adai will have a little bit more there with him, Devontae Brown, Damari Brown, of course, coming in, and some of the other guys that have been there already. What does this do to that, you know, to that room? And not only that, but again, I'm harping on special teams because, believe it or not, man, I think that special teams, first of all, you can swing field position, swing momentum, you make a big hit, you cause a fumble, you return on whatever it is, right? You make a nice block. Like how does Terry Roberts kind of fit into this team? Even though he's a smallish kind of guy, I think that he can, as DJ said, he's tough.
Yeah, I'm not worried about the size because, I mean, just to be blunt, we need guys that know how to play football based off of last year. And he's solid, and we need some of that, right? Not everyone's going to be, you know, elite size, talent, speed, and at the juncture we're at right now, like we need all the depth we can get. He's definitely a depth signing. I think he'll start to begin the year, and then we'll see if some of the younger players displace him that have more higher ceiling. But we need it. And as far as special teams, like we stunk last year on special teams, so I mean it's hard to remember all the way back, but the season kind of unraveled when we muffed a punt against A&M. That was like the beginning of the end because we were outplaying them that whole game, and then that whole first quarter, and we're looking in good shape, and then muffed the punt, and they got a touchdown out of it. And we didn't score a touchdown in that game, so that was kind of it. So, you know, things spiral out of control from there. So yeah, definitely, you need those veteran guys too, guys that have been played in a lot of tough games. Like, you know, the Big Ten's a tough physical conference, and we need that physicality because, frankly, we didn't answer the bell when teams challenged us physically last year. So I think it's a positive addition all the way around. I'm assuming he's going to play a lot or he wouldn't have transferred here. So because he had other suitors, which, I mean, if he wants to be like just on the 2 deep and win a lot, frankly, those other 2 schools you mentioned are a better opportunity to do that. What we can provide is more playing time. So I think that's kind of should give you a pretty big sign that he's going to almost certainly start and play a ton.
And
yeah, go ahead, DJ.
I think a lot of times too, Big Ten corners are kind of, you know how to defend the run. So I think his instincts and awareness in that aspect, given the fact that so many Big Ten football teams run the football, will also be able to help Miami in terms of, you know, just trying to add a second layer to the run defense as well.
Yeah, Max, do you suspect that he would challenge to start at the beginning of the year?
I think there's a common misconception about him too, that he's a slot receiver, just or slot corner, just because he's kind of smaller. He's an outside guy. I mean, you go to pop on the tape, he's playing outside primarily. So I think he has an opportunity to start day one for sure.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting, man, because just a little bit that I saw and the little bit that I've heard from Flo and some of the guys over there. I mean, this is the kind of guy that we wanted to go after, and this is the kind of guy that we wanted on this team. So I'm happy about that. I know a lot of people are still talking about some other names out there like Jaheim, Singletary, and maybe some other guys. And look, it could very well still happen, right? I mean, I I've gotten to a point, Max, and guys, that like for me, just going crazy over a guy that still is not here, and going over a guy, going crazy over someone that we almost had last year, and oh my God, now he's coming, and oh my God, he's not, and oh my God, he was here, and now he's not here, and he has a great relationship with this one, he has a great relationship with that one, and you know what, he's down to. I'm like, at this point, I'm like, you kind of get exhausted with the whole thing, right?
Hmm.
I think everybody got exhausted with the Cormani situation. So by the time he flipped, nobody gave a crap anymore. Nobody cared. It was like, okay, whatever. It was gonna happen. It is what it is. And I think you're seeing that a lot with a lot of the players that are coming out of the portal now, and even in recruiting the young high school kids. What I think is interesting, Max, is how Coach Cristobal is kind of handling it all, right? Because I think that the fan base, it isn't always what it seems, right? I think that's the
Hmm.
biggest thing to kind of take out of it. Like the fan base kind of thinks, well, we're whiffing on all these guys, and why isn't he getting Jaheim to come down here if we already almost got him last year, and what the hell's going on, and whatever, and other players, right? Oh, why didn't this guy commit to us and he committed to Purdue instead? Like, are you serious? We're whiffing on those kind of players, and of course, it isn't always as it seems, but I think that if anybody realizes how Mario moves, and I know it's starting to sound cliche for a lot of people. Oh, he moves in silence, or he does things a different way, or he's patient. Um, I think you have to be considering the landscape of college football now, and how crazy the wild west is, right? The free agency, that's what it is. Transfer
Hmm.
portal is free agency. Um, are you surprised at the way that I don't want to say Mario's handling it, because I don't think nobody is surprised based off of what we know about him. But do you feel like he's doing things a little different that that obviously the fans don't know about, and the everyday person doesn't know about, but that are actually really damn awesome, right? Like that we don't realize the type of moves that he's making, or the type of evaluations that he's making. What are some of the things that we don't realize, without getting kind of into specifics, that Mario is doing in the background, and how he's pursuing the transfer portal, how he's kind of pursuing what he does in the recruiting trail, that I think the fans should feel comfortable knowing. I don't know
Yeah,
if
I
that
mean,
makes any sense.
yeah, I mean, the biggest thing is that he always has a backup plan for his backup plan. You know, if you look at the guys we have in the transfer portal, you could say maybe one of them is you couldn't argue may start, like just one, maybe two. Terry Roberts has a potential to start. Branson Dean has a potential to start. Matt Lee's probably starting. Francis's brother's probably starting. Devontae Brown's probably starting. Cohen's probably starting. So okay, you can make an argument that McCormick, the tight end, and Gore maybe won't start. That's six starters right there out of the eight guys we brought in the transfer portal. So we're going after guys that we think are going to make immediate impact. And then those other two guys are more depth pieces, which we needed depth. So that's one of the things. He always has backup plans for his backup plans, and the guys that he is bringing in are guys that are going to produce hopefully immediately. And as far as high school recruiting goes, I mean it's the same thing.
Yeah.
There's a defensive tackle that his name got leaked this week that's been in the works for a while now, out of Chicago, and everyone was like, "Who is this guy?" Well, if you go watch his tape, he's like another Joshua Horton, but no one knows who he is because he's in um, Chicago, and no one's mentioned his name and Miami in the same sentence the entire recruiting cycle. So Mario's working guys like that all around the country. Everybody didn't hear Nick Harbor's name for 3 months, and all of a sudden his name pops up again. So he just loves to work in silence, loves to find some of these under the radar guys. And that's not just Mario. That's Coach Alonzo Highsmith as well. And that's just, you'll see the fruits of the labor when these guys get to campus. You will.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned Nick Harbor because we've obviously been speaking about him for like over a year now, or more, right? And how talented he is. There's a rumor out there. I don't know if it's true or not. Maybe you can confirm, maybe you can't, about Mario going to visit him or doing something like that soon. I know they're recruiting him. That's obvious. Everybody and their mother is recruiting him. What type of player is Nick Harbor? Like, he's a 5-star athlete. He wants to play this. He wants to play that. He's been playing tight end in the All American game. He's probably the fastest kid in the country. Uh, he's got elite speed. He's got elite athleticism. But the truth of the matter is, at 6'5", 230 pounds, 225 pounds, I mean, it's tough not to see him putting his hand in the dirt or and going after the quarterback and stuff like that. And I know that he may want to play some other position. What do you think Mario wants here with Nick Harbor? Is it enough to get him to come down here to Miami?
Yeah, I mean, Mario wants him on campus. What position at this point doesn't really matter. Coach Mario just wants him on campus. Personally, I think defensive end's his best position, but that impacts his ability to run track. Right. So you're looking at wide receiver or tight end. Did okay in the All-American game at tight end. But what is he? He's an elite track runner. That's what he is. He's an elite track runner playing football. He has super high upside because of that, but I would call him an elite athlete, not an elite football player at this present time. He's a 5-star athlete. That's what he is. There's been talks about, do you think you should use a scholarship on him? Absolutely. When you have a chance to get a guy this athletic, you're gonna put him on scholarship. Similar to how Oregon had the receiver that was an Olympic track runner, and he actually had a workout, and I think he was on a practice squad for the Eagles this year. So I mean, you're gonna take a chance on guys like that. But what he is an elite athlete, specifically elite track runner. And you just roll the dice with it. Hope you can develop him at whatever position he wants to play.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Shout out to Fern, who's finally catching a show again. Well, he's not catching flights. He's catching shows, baby. What's up, Tap? Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see how Mario finishes out this class. February is National Signing Day again. I think the first week in February, the first Wednesday in February. Next week, is it next week? Is it February 1st?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Wednesday.
Next Wednesday.
So I think
so
the second, right?
1 week left. Yeah, it's Wednesday's the first, and I know it's on a Wednesday. So
yeah, the first. Yeah.
And I'm gonna go. Unfortunately, I'm gonna go to you again, Max, because like for me, I'm interested to see what they do to close out the class, and I know there's still room to sign some guys in the transfer portal after spring football and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Are there some names that we should be, we should kind of keep our head, on a swivel about coming into Wednesday's signing day? Is there some guys that could possibly, whether it's a flip, whether it's a commit, a guy that we haven't heard about? I know you mentioned the guy from Chicago. Is that Jamel Howard, by the way?
Yeah.
That is, right? I'll just throw out his name. Yeah, that's the kid. Is that a kid that is he a 2023 kid?
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
the two names are Howard and Harbor. That's pretty much all that I'm aware of. So
yeah, I think that anything could happen with Coach Cristobal, but I think that if we can land another guy, those two horses, I think you got yourself one pretty kick-ass recruiting class. And then of course the transfer portal news. I think we're still looking at some guys there. Max, the growing concern with the wide receiver position for a lot of people is, you got your Gary Bryant Jr., who hasn't made a decision yet. Eddie Lewis just committed to another school. That was a name that was on the radar. There may be some other names that we don't know about that are on the radar that, that Coach Cristobal is looking at. There's growing concern for the fan base because it seems like we keep and I know we've all mentioned it ad nauseum on our shows already. You probably mentioned it yesterday, the week before. Flo's mentioned it. I know because I've heard it in the show. Everybody. Um, but we're gonna land one of these guys, right?
I would anticipate we land a receiver before the season starts.
If you had to choose a receiver, would you get a guy like Gary Bryant Jr., speedster, can return kicks, can play anywhere really? He can play the slot or the outside. He's 5'11", 6 feet tall, but there's some other guys that are some big guys out there. Do you see it being a guy like Gary Bryant or maybe one of the other guys that aren't really being spoken about too much?
Yeah, I mean, as long as Tyler Harrell's foot checks out,
Oh,
I
that's right.
I think we have a decent shot at him. But the question is the medical on that.
Right.
He didn't play like at all at Alabama this past season because of it. So it's his last year of college football. If he still has lingering foot issues, you're probably not going to want to use a scholarship on that because you just don't know how much he's going to be able to produce. But if that checks out, then that would definitely be a name to kind of monitor. But other than that, I think you're more so looking at guys that are going to hit the portal during spring and that next period, and then we kind of go from there.
Here's what I think might be a good idea for Tyler Harrell. He is a local kid, right? He's from South Florida, so I think if that's the kind of kid that his foot may check out. I think if you're the player, if you're anybody who helps him out or represents him or anything, say, hey, you know what, man? Like, let's just say, worst case scenario, your foot gets screwed up again in the middle of the season or whatever. Man, you're home. You're home. You're in South Florida. Obviously you're playing for the Hurricanes, but like now you're home. Now you're chilling. You don't have, you're not far away from your family and things like. I don't know if that plays into it. But I think that if you're a kid and you come in, your foot's okay, you start playing, you end up getting hurt again, God forbid, you're home. And that might, I'm just throwing out there a possibility. I don't know if that even makes sense because this day and age of the transfer portal is really about NIL. I get it, but that could be a possibility. I don't know if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I think it's more on Miami's. It's kind of Miami's decision right now with the medical,
Right.
and then we'll see what happens.
Gotcha. All right, so I want to kind of switch gears a little bit to what everybody wants to talk about, which is the athletic training staff. No, I'm just kidding. It's obviously the.
I would love to. Let's talk about that.
Coach Fell, beautiful mustache. Max, you obviously don't have the stash anymore. So
I thought you were going after Vinny Scavo for a second there. I was like, what is that?
Oh, the strength and conditioning staff. Excuse me. I'm sorry. Vinny Scavo, we need to look at him a little bit too.
I don't know, man. All the injuries at the quarterback position, someone's got to take the ball.
Hey, you know what? No, let's not put that out there, man. Poor guy. But yeah.
Did he just get inducted in the school Hall of Fame or something? I think he's fine.
Yeah, I think he'll be okay. He's not going anywhere. Obviously the big deal is with Coach Gaddis. What the hell's going on with him? Why is it taking forever? There's a buyout. There's his buyout is $17.5 million, and people are going crazy, throwing out crazy amount of numbers. If you've heard Flow Motion earlier today, you know what the buyout really is per se, and I think it's headed that way. What's if you had to guess as a fan, and I'm gonna ask this question to all of you, right? We'll start with you, Vish. If you had to guess at this point, with all the news and all the rumors about him being gone, right? Oh, he's all but gone already. We're just trying to figure out what the hell we're doing, where he's gonna go. He's still picking and choosing. What if you had to guess as a fan, from a fan's point of view, what the hell's taking so long? What would you say? How would you feel about what's going on right now?
Well, I mean, there's multiple options, right? One is he's not going. That's still on the table. I think the likelier scenario is he does have a buyout. We don't want to pay it. He wants a job somewhere else. This is not good for him to get fired and run out of town after a year here. If he can land on his feet, it's better for everyone because that cuts into the buyout, lessens the impact. So I think they're just letting him work through that process. Ultimately, does that mean if he can't land something, do they pay for it and fire him? Probably, if that's the decision they made. But I think they're allowing the process to play out because it's in everyone's best interest for if he's going to go, it's definitely better for us and it's better for him if he's not fired and instead just finds another job that he then goes into. So I think that's what's going on right now. Now, whether or not if something falls apart and he actually can't do that, do we then have to pull the trigger? That's a little gray area because I don't think we're planning on paying him all of that money. But we've seen Mario do this stuff. I'm not necessarily a fan of it. If you recall, like when Gaddis was hired last year, it was very late in the process. But he tends to be very methodical with these things, and we've talked about this on the show before. If you think he's got to go, you send him packing. As far as I'm concerned, you don't do this stuff. But this is, I guess, given how we've seen Mario operate in the past, this seems like right in line with his slow playing of coaching decisions. Frankly, like Ron told me left like a week or two ago. So this is kind of right in line with the way he operates. So if you think, if you believe the rumor, if you think Gaddis is going, like it's not out of the realm of thinking from a Mario standpoint that he'd still have him here and still intend to fire him. So most coaches do it the day after the season ends, right? They're just like half the staff is gone. Mario doesn't operate that way. So
DJ, what's your thought on how it's why it's taking so long, or not even why it's taking so long, right? Because a lot of people say why is it taking so long. Some other people say he's in no rush, right? Like what side are you on? Like, is it taking too long for you, or should they kind of have something in place already? What's your thoughts on that?
See, I guess I'm kind of in the minority, but I'm not a huge fan of replacing offensive coordinators after one season. I understand the frustration because I was also yelling at my TV when we would run the football and get stuffed from the red zone, but I'm not exactly a huge fan. I feel like he needs another year to maybe implement, what he wants to do. I feel like we have a better running back room, and I feel like more pieces are going to be there. I do agree with Vish that we probably don't want to pay the $17 million buyout.
It was a joke, by the way. It's not 17 million.
Well,
but
I wouldn't be surprised if it's somewhere close to that, honestly. But I mean, I don't love him, but I don't like the idea of running him out of town after 1 year, hypothetically running him out of town after 1 year. And wasn't he hired like the first weekend of February last year?
Yeah,
The 6th, I
Okay.
believe, the 6th of February.
yeah,
so
Less
then
than a year.
Max knows the date.
So then that's the question, right? Like, and Max, you know the numbers, and by the way, the number is more like $1.3 million is the buyout.
Yeah.
Just so you guys know, it's not a lot at all. It's $1.3 million. So
It's
right,
still, it's
am I right?
optics.
Is that the number, Max? 1.3.
That's the perceived number.
There's other things involved here. There's optics of pulling a guy from Michigan and firing him within a year,
Yep.
right? Like there's like if you're on a steady, like we pulled Michigan's offensive, whatever people want to say about him now, the Broyles Award winner out of Michigan, we pulled. If that doesn't get you more near job security, that's not a good look for the school. And so you got to think about that as well as who are you going to go get now when they know, one bad year. It doesn't matter what you came in. One bad year, you're gone. Like that doesn't. It's much better if Gaddis goes somewhere else and says, "I love insert place here." Miami wasn't a great fit for me personally. This is a much better situation than for us to can his ass. It's just much better for the school optically as well. And frankly, this whole thing does not paint Mario in a great light. That Ponce was his boy. He's already exited the hell out of here. Like this is not. So the last thing you need to do is be like, we fired the whole staff. My bad.
Right.
So I think it's much better if he just leaves voluntarily. I think Mario understands that. He just wants it to just wants Gas to go find yourself another job and get out of here. And I think Gas is probably wanting to do that too because I don't think he really wants to be here anymore either.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, DJ. DJ, go ahead, finish.
It's difficult, and I don't care how complex or how simple the system is to try to get an offense down in your first year, on the staff, and try to expect like 12-0 or undefeated, good results. Were they great last year? No. Were there some good things? Yeah, but I don't think it would be fair to kind of you know, not give this offense at least another shot just to see what they could do. I don't know, just running the offensive coordinator out of town after 1 year in a new in a new system with a new offense. I don't know. I doesn't sit well with me.
So part of that I would disagree with though is it depends on the reason because we've talked about this a lot. Mario is not gonna like bring in a guy that's gonna like do the fun and gun and chuck the ball over the place 100 times a game. That's not how he wants to play. And frankly, if you look at the teams that are winning that are in the playoffs every year, they play the same style we played last year. Just have frankly good players. So when you run those same runs inside the red zone with an offensive line that can shove the defense out of the way, all of a sudden it's a touchdown, right? It makes the play calling easier. But there's definitely personality issues on this staff. I mean, Blue talked about last week. Ponce felt locked out of like the offense and that he didn't have a say in there. When Mario went and assembled his offensive staff, like his all-star staff, right? He got the best and brightest at pretty much every position, right? I don't know that he really paid a lot of mind to the chemistry of these guys working together. And I think in particular on offense, we saw a lot of that. Like everything was just disjointed when you could look at the people individually and say they are 100% qualified for that position that they're doing. Of course, Gass is a qualified offensive coordinator. He was coordinating an offense in the playoffs last year. Like Ponce went from offensive coordinator just to quarterback coach. They're all qualified. So I don't think he really factored in, the personality clash, how well these guys are going to work together. And if it's been determined that, look, Mario, his personality doesn't work with Gaddis or the rest of the staff, like there's just a clash there, he's got to go. 1 more year is not going to fix that. So I think if the driving behind that is just like Gaddis is a bad fit and they all know it, and it does kind of feel that way because if Gaddis actually like wanted to stay here, he would say, no, I'm not looking for a job, fire me. I think he wants to leave, and I think Mario wants to leave because I think this is not working, and it's not the style or the playbook. It's the personalities. It's just not happening.
I understand that, but wouldn't you think this would be something that may have, kind of tipped its hand when they first tried to bring him in or when they were talking about bringing him in?
Well, what do you think, Max? What do you think about this whole situation?
I think there's a third situation that nobody's talking about that could be the reason why this hasn't happened yet.
Okay. Speaking of the third of a third situation,
thank you for that.
Yeah. Do you feel that if you knew that he wasn't the right fit, because Vish mentioned this earlier, right? Like, just go ahead and do it already instead of quote unquote dragging this on or quote unquote waiting for him to find a spot. Like, how do you feel about that side of the equation, right? Like that thought process. Why not just get rid of him already and keep moving forward?
I think that's like an easy answer for the general public to just come to an agreement like, oh, just get rid of him. But in reality, that's not how things work a lot of the times, especially in more difficult situations when you're dealing with other stuff. So I can't really speak much on it. I just know that it's not all on Coach Mario right now.
Yeah. Fair enough. We'll end with this really quick. The other side of the football, defensive side of the ball, you see a lot. You see Kevin Steele's out there recruiting Charlie Strong. You see a lot of photos of Charlie Strong and Coach Cristobal on the trail together. Do you expect to see any changes on that side of the football? And can we see DVD coming in and finally getting a position as well on the staff as an actual coach?
Yeah, I mean, I hope so. I hope DVD's on the field. I expect that we do have some shakeup on defense. I've said it every time any coaching updates have been talked about. The average coaching shelf life in college is 2 years, which means a lot of people leave after 1. So I think it's more than likely that somebody on the defensive staff is somewhere else when it's all said and done. Do I know who it is? Absolutely not. But I have some ideas. But yeah, I would expect there to be a little bit of shakeup on defense as well.
And last but not least, do you feel, just based off of what Vish and DJ have kind of spoken about a little bit here, Do you feel that this whole situation with Gaddis, with the any other position coaches, could potentially be a bad look for Mario and the school if they get rid of him so fast after 1 year? If they think if they kind of do those type of things, do you think that that could potentially be a bad look for Miami?
I don't think getting rid of a coach after 1 year is a bad look. Sometimes it's just not a fit, whether it's personality, whether it's scheme, whether it's anything. I mean, sometimes you're just not a right fit and you have to cut ties. More time isn't going to change the fact that you're not the right fit. It was pretty evident with Ponce's exit that there wasn't the right fit here um, between Ponce and Gaddis. And he may not be the only coach that's not the right, who's not the right fit. So I don't see it as a negative to have to move on from somebody after a year, because that happens all throughout college football, and I don't think it's looked at negatively. It was a fail this season, but in reality, we don't know all the reasons why. So I don't see it as an issue whatsoever.
Yeah, I think that at the end of the day, man, if it's not working, man, this day and age, especially in college football, you need to you need to make a decision, make a change, and sometimes it's going to take a coach or two to get the right fit. And I think that the problem is that the fan base and college football as a whole doesn't have much patience for that kind of stuff, and so it kind of becomes a well, we need to do it and we need to do it right now. We don't care how much it costs. Whereas this is being kind of operated a different way. This is like I'm gonna do it on my own time when I'm good and ready, and it's gonna cost whatever I say it's gonna cost. Basically, we're not gonna overpay for people. We're not going to, just throw a gazillion dollars at someone because of it's a pretty name. So again, it's got a lot of moving parts, and I think that it's every day this is evolving more and more and more. And while the fan base I know gets, they get frustrated or they get antsy about it, because God knows I get antsy sometimes too. I'm like, hey man, I want to talk about a new guy now. I'm tired. Here's what's happening, right, Max? This is what I feel. Vish, Max, DJ. I feel like this is all playing out like Corbani McLean. Like we're all so exhausted talking about Corbani McLean that eventually nobody's gonna give a crap if Gaddis is here or not anymore. Oh, you got a new offensive coordinator?
I mean,
All right, great.
I've
Whatever.
already been there, right? Like,
Yeah.
I'm on record saying, like, if he stays, I'm fine with it.
Same
If he
here,
goes, I'm fine
honestly.
with it.
Yeah.
I'm not. I feel like I'm the only one, or maybe DJ as well, and a few of us here. But like,
Yeah.
whatever. If he's here next year, we'll ride with him. If he's not, we'll ride with whoever's in there. I don't think.
Guess what, Vish? None of us watching and none of us in this chat right now or on the show have any impact on the decision. So
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it is what it is. It's going to be what it is, and we have no
Yeah.
control over it. So
Yeah, I guess I just don't. I can't get this energy up to like people are adding him on Twitter like you suck. I'm like, dude, it's January.
Yeah. I mean, it's
basketball
ridiculous.
team just beat FSU by like 30, man. Relax.
Worry about this in September if you're gonna worry about it at all. Like
this is like
I knew
seriously.
Vish has been dying to get that in there.
I put it on the banner
I
too,
know,
man.
I know.
We gotta get it in there, man. We kicked their ass.
Kings crushed FSU in basketball, baby.
We gave them back for football. Largest road win in series history.
Well, good.
There you go. So we gave them one back. No, I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, we talked about this with like stock getting the roster right. This is a multi-year process.
Yeah.
So if you think like if Gaddis comes back and he struggles again, he'll definitely not get to year 3. And frankly, we're not going to win the championship next year. So like I'm at peace with it either way. And it's Mario's going to eventually get this right. He's putting too much into it. He's too good of a football coach. That doesn't make him perfect. And everyone seems to be looking at the mistakes and like, oh my God, no, he's fine. Right. He's going to do a good job here.
Yeah.
We're going to be back at the top. And it's going to take a hell of a lot of patience, though, because we're nowhere near there yet. And so I'm just at peace with the whole thing. If we miss on a kid here or there, fine.
This is my opinion. This is not based off anything else. I think he's already gone. I just think it's a matter of, who it is. There's a lot of other moving parts, as Max mentioned, and we've kind of talked about that. I'm sure are happening in the background. I think he's gone already, but at the same time, I'll be honest with you. I'm not checking every day to see who the new offensive coordinator is. At this point, I'm just kind of waiting and seeing. There's guys that I have on my mind, right? There's guys that I would love to see here. coach this offense and things like that. But at the same time, I'm just like temper my expectations. Let it happen. It is what it is. Whoever it is, I'm okay with it because at the end of the day, Mario, for the debacle that the coaching staff has been this year, I just don't think Mario's going to make too many mistakes when he's hiring people either. I think sometimes it's a little trial and error, and things bumps in the road are going to happen, right? This kind of stuff could happen, and I think that he's Coach Cristobal is aligning himself with the right people in the offseason to learn some other things that I think that he is not as good at, and kind of fix those things as well. And I think that that's what good coaches and good leaders of men do as well. They always want to hear from the best, and they always want to get better at what they're not good at either. So,
yeah, and I view it as no different than recruiting. You get the best you can. Some of them end up busting.
Yeah,
and then you replace them and eventually have enough that are high level that you end up winning, and
that's it.
It is going to happen.
Yeah, agreed.
Anyone want to take a stab at Ben's question?
At this point, outside of Kingsbury, what OC options are even out there?
By the way, Kingsbury's like floating around Thailand or something. He's not really an option, but
Max, there's a lot of options out there, right? Who are some of the guys?
Like millions of options out there. Like a lot of the guys that we would want are like totally gettable. There's tons of. I mean, think about it this way: Kevin Steele accepted the Maryland job like 3 days before we hired him. So just because a coach got hired somewhere else doesn't mean they wouldn't be willing to leave if Coach Mario came calling it. And to be completely frank, I think this has been in motion for months already. I think he probably has his candidates down, if not already decided on who the next OC is going to be, and he's just waiting for the Gaddis domino to fall whenever that falls, and then I don't think it'll take long from there. But there's tons of options out there. I mean, Jason Candle just signed an extension, probably less likely, but guess what? He's only getting paid $1.1 million a year. You can buy that out, okay? You've got Marcus Arroyo, who's currently unemployed. He was the offensive coordinator under Mario. He had great success, 3 years of top 25 offenses, quarterback coach in the NFL. He's unemployed, no buyout at all. You've got Seth Luttrell, who was the OC at Baylor. He was the North Texas head coach the last 6 years. He's unemployed, no buyout. I mean, there's tons of – Dan Mullen, no buyout. Scott Frost, no buyout. There's tons of top-tier guys still available.
And just to add to Max's point, last year at this time, we didn't have an offensive coordinator, and we went and took one of the richest school in the country's offensive coordinator off a team that was in the playoffs last year.
Yep.
Anyone's gettable.
Yeah.
I think we're still in that old, like, frankly, pre the last few years mentality is like, all right, who can we get on the cheap? Right. We're not shopping at the dollar store anymore. So it's that's allowing Mario to be patient here. We don't have to like strike while the iron's hot. It's always hot.
But also the NFL season hasn't even ended yet, and there's heaps of guys in the NFL that you could target.
I agree. I think there's some guys out there that we didn't think that would be a possibility, and all of a sudden they're like, oh, okay, this could be a possibility.
I mean, if you think about last year, no way Gaddis or Steele we would have even mentioned. Like Max said, Steele had just
unless you're Flo.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not talking about having inside information. I'm talking about just generally out in the ether. Flo actually knows things. We're just speculating. I'm not talking about people that actually know stuff. That's cheating.
I think people that would have said, "Oh yeah, let's get Josh Gaddis," would have probably felt like, "Oh, that's a pipe dream." Like
both of them, because as Max said, Steele had just signed with Maryland. Gaddis, like, why would you come from Michigan? You're in the playoffs,
right?
Money talks.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy.
And I still think the school is a huge opportunity, and that's what Gaddis jumped at, because you saw it from our fans too. All of a sudden, Jim Harbaugh was an offensive savant once Gaddis came right. No, it was Harbaugh's offense. That's why it was good, because they don't want to give Gaddis credit for it. That's one of the reasons he comes here.
Yeah.
Like, you want to make your own name. Like, you don't want to be Harbaugh's guy. You want to be Gaddis. And this is still a high-profile position at a huge school that plays on national TV a ton, where if you do well, it is a huge springboard. The last offensive coordinator before Gaddis got a head coaching job when the head coach got fired. Like, this is a high-profile place that you can get a head coaching job from.
Hey, that's true. Dan Enos is still out there.
No, he signed with.
He went to Arkansas.
Hey, but you never know, right?
Let's run it back.
Let's
Hey,
run it
man, you wanted to bring Coley back, so
Hey, listen, I'm still down to bring Coley back, 100%, just not as the OC. And I
keep
think
that dude away from our.
I think 90% of the population of fans would want him back.
That's fine. That's fine. I'll be the 10%. I don't want anyone that went near Al Golden. I hate that man.
You're definitely. I will tell you this: you're definitely in the minority there.
I don't care, man. If you touched Al Golden, if you walk past him, get the hell out.
All right. Well, hey, you might be friends with JC again, man. Shortly. And we're not talking about Jesus. We're talking about James Coley, baby.
We might need him with that offense from last year.
Oh man. Anyways, Max.
Obviously, if he comes here, I'll live with. I'm not gonna like. Oh my god, I'm not. Just I prefer not to. More seriously, I prefer not to pull guys that were here like 5, 6, 7 years ago and bring them back. I think I want to start clean and just move forward, and that's the bigger thing. Nothing personal against him. Actually, I think Coley's a good coach. For being honest, I just don't want to pull back the old. We're so married to our own history. I just want, and Mario is obviously an extension of that, and I just have a natural aversion at this point to just going back and pulling guys from the past.
Listen, I don't understand. Well, your logic is flawed, my friend, because Mario was here before coaching.
That's my point. He's an
All right.
extension of that, and I don't need to just double and triple down on it.
Might as well just fire Cristobal. Mario, you heard it here first. Vish wants to fire Mario Cristobal.
You saw what happened. I put Ponce in the intro. What happens, man? I got juice.
We're not putting Mario in it.
No, I mean, Anthony would come on our show.
Max, thanks for coming on the show, man, and shooting the breeze with us.
Mhm.
I appreciate it, brother. And
anytime.
And just keep it tight. Keep playing that Madden.
I'm in the Super Bowl.
Are you really? Who are you
Yeah.
playing?
I don't know yet. The other semis is going on tomorrow. So
Okay.
yep, we did
I
a
don't-
whole season. So I'm new. Like I've played Madden, but not like seriously before. So
And you got to the Super Bowl?
yeah, man, it's
How the hell did that happen? Are you playing like Negus and guys like that?
I beat tonight, right? I was down 21-10 against a dude that hasn't lost. He was 17-0, 18-0 because of playoffs. 18-0 coming into playoffs. I was down 21-10, and I won like 30 something to 21. So
There you go.
Wow.
Which team did you take?
No, so we did a fantasy draft, right? So
Okay.
the whole league is all jumbled.
That's
Those
kind
are
of cool.
fun.
But you still got a logo, right?
Yeah, I'm the Chargers, man.
Alright, you might
I live in Cali.
So who's your quarterback over there?
I actually have Trey Lance right now.
Wow, you're winning with Trey Lance, huh?
Making it to the Super Bowl with Trey Lance. He threw for like 330 yards in the championship game. So.
This is why, my friends. This is why it's a game. Madden. Hey, it is what it is.
He's gotten better throughout the year.
Yeah, I bet he has. All right, brother. We'll talk to you later, man.
All right, take it
Take it
easy.
easy, man.
fellas.
Take it easy, buddy.
Yep.
The 6 Rig Kane Show. Yeah. The 6 Rig Kane Show. Yeah. The 6 Rings Kane Show. You know,